Hello and welcome to your English news broadcast live on ERi-TV. It's exactly 10:30 p.m. on Eritrea's local time from our headquarters at Asmara with your domestic and international news in brief. I'm Zahra Baduri, but first we'll begin with your major headlines for this broadcast. An announcement from the Ministry of Health as your primary domestic. Nationwide anti-polio vaccination program, and more. And on your international, Taliban captures Afghanistan's main Tajikistan border crossing. Dozens of Congo's rebels laid down weapon in the east. And on your reports in brief. 95 patients have been diagnosed positive for COVID-19 in tests carried out today at quarantine centers in the central, southern, Ansaba, and Gashbarka regions, respectively, as your health report. Out of these, 37 patients are from quarantine centers in Asmara, central region. 26 patients are from the quarantine centers in Mandafara, 17, Ad-Ghayh 6, Sanafa 1, Ad-Dukhala 1, and Hidada 1, southern region. 16 patients are from current quarantine center, Ansaba region. 16 patients are from quarantine centers in Ali Qadr, 10, Agordat 4, Hajar 1, and in Adibara 1, Gashbarka region. On the other hand, 62 patients who have been receiving medical treatment in hospitals in the central, 28, southern 27, and southern Red Sea regions, 7, have recovered fully and have been discharged from these facilities. The total number of recovered patients to date has accordingly risen to 5,078, while the number of deaths still stands at 21. The total number of confirmed cases in the country to date has increased to 5,603. Ministry of Health, Asmara, 23rd June 2021. The Ministry of Health has launched today, 23rd June, nationwide anti-polio program in all subzones of the country, indicating that the objective of the program is to contain the spread of cross-border polio virus pandemic that has been detected in some parts of the country. Mr. Tedros Adhanom, head of the National Vaccination Program at the Ministry of Health, said that the vaccination is being provided through injection. Mr. Tedros went on to say that 656 vaccination units, as well as 1968 health professionals, have been mobilized to successfully conduct the program, pointing out that the children born after February 2016 are eligible to take the vaccination, and children aged from 6 months to 5 years will be provided with vitamin A. Mr. Tedros called on parents to take their children to vaccination centers. Mr. Tedros also said that prior to the prevalence of the cross-border polio virus pandemic, polio disease has been on the verge of eradication as a result of the regular annual vaccination program conducted. It is to be noted that 13 types of vaccination against various diseases are being regularly provided to children across the country. According to the Ministry of Health, the vaccination program will continue until June 27th. In continuation, nationals inside the country and abroad contributed financial support to Argument Martyrs Trust Fund in connection with 20th June, Martyrs Day. According to reports, nationals residing in Awil, South Sudan, contributed 4,190 Sudanese dollars. Nationals residing in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the U.S., also contributed 2,239 U.S. dollars. Nationals in Luanda, Angola, 3,862 U.S. dollars, and nationals residing in Abu Dhabi, UAE, contributed 10,542 dirhams, with the view to augment the Martyrs Martyrs Trust Fund. In related news, nationals residing in Paris, France, Brussels, Belgium, as well as in various cities of Italy, Canada, and the U.S., commemorated Martyrs Day with patriotic zeal, renewing their pledge to live up to the expectations of their martyrs. Similarly, the Association of Taxi Owners in the Central Region contributed 1.4 million nakfa to families of martyrs. Speaking to Irina, Mr. Mengus Galamikael, chairperson of the association, stating the support of the families of martyrs is the responsibility of every citizen, said that the association has contributed 1.4 million nakfa from 2015 to 2021 to that effort. On your final domestic, 46 villages in Mandafara and Mai'aini subzone have in cooperation with the Ministry of Health and the subzonal administration conducted extensive community-based environmental sanitation popular campaign. Accordingly, Mr. Yusuf Sabhat, head of the Communicable Diseases Prevention Office at Mandafara subzone, 39 villages in the subzone have fully implemented the environmental sanitation program and the remaining are near completion. In Mai'aini subzone, villages such as Sar'a, Mrahdalam, Antaqti, and Haddish Addi, Kilabelit, and Mambro, and Kudot Alam have fully introduced the community-based environmental sanitation program. Nurse Fugre Mariam Haile, head of the Mai'aini Community Hospital, stated on his behalf. Administrator of Mandafara and Mai'aini subzone, Mr. Hizkias Wahbet and Mr. Ahmed Usman, on their part, stating the significance of the introduction of the community-based environmental sanitation program in ensuring public and environmental health as well as in the protection of water resources, commanded the residents for strong participation. That is all with your domestic. We'll be back with your international after this short break. Do stay with us for more. And on your global report, some security forces abandon their posts and flee across the frontier as the Taliban seize Shakarkar Bandar crossing. The Taliban has captured Afghanistan's main border crossing with Kazakhstan. An Afghan provincial official and army officer said on Tuesday, with some security forces abandoning their post and fleeing across the frontier. The seizure of Sher Khan Bandar in the far north of Afghanistan, about 50 kilometers from Kunduz city, in the most significant gain for the Taliban since it stepped up operations on May 1st, when the U.S. began the final stage of its troops' withdrawal. In quotation, unfortunately, this morning and after an hour of fighting, the Taliban captured Sher Khan port and the town and all the border checkposts with Kazakhstan, said Kunduz Provincial Council member of Khalidin Hakim. An army officer told the AFP news agency in a quotation, in quoting, "We were forced to leave all checkposts and some of our soldiers crossed the border into Kazakhstan. By this morning, the Taliban fighters were everywhere, hundreds of them," unquote, he said, on condition of anonymity. Taliban spokesman Hezbollah Majid confirmed the fighters had seized the border crossing across Peijain River. On your final international, dozens of militia fighters in the domestic Republic of Congo have laid down their weapons and surrounded the first to do so since President Felix Tshisekedi announced martial law to tackle worsening security into eastern province. Around 140 men from various local arms groups sang and collapsed as they handed themselves into the authorities during a ceremony in Congo's northern Kivu province on Monday. Around 70 weather-beaten weapons, mostly rifles, were also turned in. Congo's mineral-rich east has been convulsed with the conflict since the official and to the country's second civil war in 2003. More than 120 armed groups are now fighting for control of the region's land and natural resources, and in quotation, that is why we bush commanders have decided to take our children out to the bushes to embrace a better life, unquote. Tshisekedi declared a state of siege in early May in response to a 2-year surge in violence across the region. But the deadly attack have increased since then, according to the data collected by the Kivu security tracker, which maps unrest in the region. The military governor of the North Kivu, Constant Denema, told reporters that they will continue to track down these armed groups, whether they are entrenched. Some conflicts analysts say increasing the army's power is unlikely to address the root cause of the bloodshed, pointing to a long history of problematic behavior documented among the troops. In a blustering report published last week, the United Nations said that the sexual violence prompted by government troops in Congo's east could amount to war crimes. The reports also accuse Congolese troops of diverting weapons to armed groups and smuggling coca from abandoned farms into neighboring Uganda. Dear viewers, that is all for now with your domestic and international news, but these were your major headlines for this broadcast. An announcement from the Ministry of Health as your primary domestic. Nationwide anti-polio vaccination program and financial support to Agreement Malteers Trust Fund and community-based environmental sanitation popular campaign. Taliban captures Afghanistan main Tajikistan border crossing. And on your final international report, dozens of Congo's rebels laid down weapons in the east. That is all for now, and thanks for watching. Have a nice one.